All right, so we're about to get started. Again, you're going to need your planner or a piece of paper if you don't have a planner, or the free PDF, which you can go and download on the website. I wanted to start actually with Passion Planner Story because I don't know if everyone has heard it, and we're going to be celebrating our 10 years this year in August, which is pretty awesome. I would have never thought that I would dedicate 10 years of my life to a planner company. So goal setting must come from within. That is the only way to build your happiness. It's something that I learned actually at the beginning of starting Passion Planner. I started Passion Planner in 2013, right after I graduated from UCLA. And I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And I felt super stuck and directionless. So I kind of went into this weird funk depression for 6 to 9 months. I don't remember exactly. I remember just not being able to want to do anything. I would wake up and have like a really monotonous day and feel really ashamed about it. And I remember taking out a piece of paper and thinking, I need to do something different. I need to change something up. So I took out a piece of paper and wrote down my goals. And I actually made the first passion roadmap ever. And one of my goals was to make a tool that helped people. And I thought about what has helped me. And I've always used a planner since the mandatory planners in elementary school, but I never really loved any planners on the market. So I decided to make one myself, which was Passion Planner. And I had used so many different planners, and I was that person that would buy 6 and then keep the one that I want and give the other ones to my friends. And I started just designing my own. And yeah, I made my own and did it first on Photoshop and found a manufacturer on Google. And then I asked a friend from high school to shoot my Kickstarter video, and I launched my Kickstarter. So this is actually the first Passion Planner. This was the first Passion Planner ever in production, actually. This was the sample. Actually, this was probably a blank notebook with a piece of paper that I had done a printout of because I couldn't have them manufactured fast enough to have them in time for the Kickstarter. But I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to start. So that first Kickstarter in 30 days raised $48,000 from 1,000 people all around the world. And some people are in this room, which is amazing. So thank you for being here for so long. And then a year later, I decided to launch a smaller version of Passion Planner. And in 30 days, and this is my first office ever. My parents' garage, which I only got half of it because my parents are immigrants and they are also people that love to keep things. So I rented half of the garage, and my dad picked up like an old picnic table off the side of the road and he painted it. And that was my desk, and it had little slats in it. So my pens would always fall through it. But it worked. And then a year later, I decided to start another Kickstarter, smaller size, and launched it. And essentially, I raised $658,000 from 23,000 people all around the world, which was incredible because I was literally operating out of my parents' garage and my whole life changed. Literally a millionaire over the course of a month. And I was like, I never even knew what an accountant did. I didn't know what a lawyer did. I just started calling people, Yelping people, and figuring it out. And now it's been about 9 years since that viral moment. And I think I've spent all of that time wrapping my head around becoming this accidental millionaire with a company that's so big. It was so many growing pains and so much like blood, sweat, and tears for me, for my team. I'm so grateful to everyone in this room and everyone that has ever supported Passion Planner, because we definitely would not be here without you. And also your forgiveness as we messed up many times throughout the years. So far we've been featured in all these places, which is amazing. Like a planner company started in my parents' garage. We just had an NPR interview go live yesterday. You can listen to it. It's about making better to-do lists. But the thing that I'm most proud of is we've given more than 600,000 Passion Planners to nonprofits and schools all around the world, and $650,000 with our partnerships through our limited edition planners. So if you buy a planner with a colored cover, we donate $1 to the nonprofit that is supported by the design. So super, super grateful. All of these things are just impossible without such a strong community. So now moving in, so thank you for listening to my story, or I guess our story collectively, because I think it literally has taken millions of people's help to support, especially during the pandemic. The pandemic was one of the hardest first years of Passion Planner, because all of the things that were affecting supply chain, everything was a chain reaction, and so many people stayed faithful and just like loyal to this company, which to me, there's so many planner companies out on the market. To be here and choose Passion Planner, that to me is an honor. So thank you for letting us be a part of your life. Without further ado, into the Passion Roadmap exercise. One of the things is to chase goals that make you excited, that will help them fuel themselves. So a lot of times when people choose goals, they are afraid to write down what truly resonates with them. And hopefully in your planner, you use it as a space of non-judgment. You don't have to share this. You don't have to post this. You don't have to even pursue the goal. If you feel any inclination to a goal, just write it down and no judgment. So for me, excitement has been the thing that has really helped me trudge through the really difficult parts of the goal process, because sometimes goals take many years. So yeah, so have the courage. Hopefully the word that I gift you today is courage. And before we do that, I would like to take a minute to just kind of ground ourselves, because I think it's really easy to let all the stress and the anxiety and the pressure of everything that happens in your day-to-day, whether you have kids, whether you're working, whatever, feel like it's piling up on you. So if you feel comfortable, please take a second to just close your eyes. And we're going to take 5 breaths in and then out through our mouth. So in through your nose, out through your mouth. So the first one, and let it go out. In through your nose, out. In through your nose, and out through your mouth. And with each breath, just let everything go. In through your nose, and out. And last one. In through your nose, and out through your mouth. All right, so thank you for giving me that. I see some yawns, I see some, tiredness. That's okay. I think a lot of times we zip through life going from one thing to the next thing. So we're going to open our Passion Roadmap. So it looks like this. That's how it's going to look when it's done. But we're going to start from a blank canvas. Okay, so the first step is to make a wish list. I'm going to set a timer for 5 minutes. Imagine that whatever you write on this piece of paper will come true within the designated time frame. Think of it as a wish list describing your ideal life. Ask yourself, if I could be anything, do anything, or have anything, what would it be? Write every single thing that comes to mind and be as specific as possible. Lastly, do not feel the need to be realistic or justify your dreams, just write. So you can turn off your video if you would like. I'm going to be muting and turning off my video. I'll set a timer for 5 minutes. Where do we write it? You're going to be writing it in the mind map. So I won't start the timer yet because I forgot a step. So we're going to write today's date right in the middle. So today is the 6th of January, 2023. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah, I thought I wrote 2022. 2023, and then 3 months is going to be 4/6/2023. In 1 year, it's going to be 1/6/2024. In 3 years, it's going to be 1/6/2026. So you're going to write those in the corresponding boxes. We're going to write the little goals off of these 4 spokes. So for example, under 3 months, you would write a line, and then you can write like start blog or read 4 books. All right, so I will go ahead and start a timer. And if you have questions, go ahead and write them in. And if I have time, I will message them back. Awesome. Hello, everyone. All right, so how was that for everyone? If you would like to put in the chat how that felt. Rachel said, it feels weird to let myself think about what I truly want. That's powerful and important, because I think sometimes people wait their whole lives to really start thinking about what they really want. And someone said, I didn't really know Elianas. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. I didn't know what really to put. That's totally normal. That's okay. This is definitely a practice that I do once every 6 months at least to really fine tune what it is that I want now and see and recognize the things that have come up year after year and things that just aren't as important. I don't really reference my old passion roadmaps. I just start fresh from where I'm at because I think I changed so much year after year. Allison said it was emotional. The process brought tears to their eyes. That's pretty amazing. We'll definitely need to come back and revisit it. No problem. You can do this literally after this workshop. You can spend another 5 minutes, another 30 minutes. The reason why we set a 5-minute timer is because if there's not a timer, then people sometimes will not do it, or they will put it off for another time, or they'll just be an analysis paralysis. And analysis paralysis in creating the life that you want, that's a really hard place to be. So yeah, thank you. Someone was overwhelmed, totally normal. It was scary, inspirational. So thank you everyone for your, if I could be here for like 3 hours, I would. But thank you so much for sharing. Perfectionism had me struggling. Trust me, I know. And that's why we invented erasable pen. All right, so thanks everyone for doing that. Someone said I had no lifetime goals, and I also had that experience this year. I was like, oh my gosh, I had so many goals for my 3 months, 1 year, 3 years that my lifetime I left blank. And actually what I do is throughout the year, if I feel inspired to write down another goal or do my passion roadmap exercise again, I'll take out another color of a pen. So all of the red was actually what I did the second round that I went through my passion roadmap. I'll still set a timer for 5 minutes and then I'll do it. But that's just a tip. Again, this is not a test. This is not pass or fail. This is, did you show up? Did you write stuff down? Great. I think you're a lot more clear about where you want your life to go, which I think is awesome. And Brene Brown says clarity is kindness, which I really love. So giving yourself concrete goals and giving yourself that clarity of what direction you want to go in your life is a very kind thing that you can do for yourself. So number 3, or actually the next thing is these are the four goals that you are going to prioritize. And now where you're going to create a passion plan, which a passion plan is just a mind map of the goal and the steps that you can do in it. I mean, that you must do to get there. Yep, that's literally what I wrote there. A passion plan is a mind map that visually breaks down your goals into steps that are specific, actionable, measurable, and time sensitive. So they're essentially SMART goals. So on this side, we're going to create a passion plan. So what you're going to do is you're going to choose one of those goals that you circled, and you're going to write it in this box on the second page where it says my game changer. So mine is to launch my podcast. I launched my 2nd episode today, which I think I did pretty good. You can hear Rocco in the background doing a shake. So I want to shoot 4 episodes before I start posting it. So thanks for everyone for your support. It's been really nice. So mine was launch a podcast. So your game changer goal is the one goal that would have the most positive impact in your life right now. Write this in the blank box below. Set your timer for 5 minutes, which I will do again. Write down all the necessary steps needed to achieve your goal. The more detailed, the better. But again, don't be too hard on yourself about getting everything perfect, because you will always have time after this to add more if you need to. And then connect each step to the middle box with a line. And if you have no idea how to reach your goal, then this is an open Google test. It's not a test, but it's open Google. So go ahead and type in how to blank and find steps online. So we have 5 minutes for this step. And it can be, I usually say your game changer goal should be within the 3-month section or the 1 year section, because that's usually enough time that it's challenging, but not too long that it's too long. Yeah. So I'll set a timer. If you want to turn down the music, you could just turn down the volume. I will hop on again. on the screen when I'm ready to go. And then I will also put it in the chat. So go ahead and start. We're going to get started again. So how did that part make everyone feel in the chat? Please. Much more focused. Nice. Feels good, easier, more doable. Totally. Yeah. I think sometimes people get so caught up in that first step that this step is so important. Great idea to Google what to do. Yeah. Google was my mentor back in the day. Goal feels more tangible, not as overwhelming, better, less overwhelming. Definitely. Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone, for participating in the chat. Also, I had a question, I think, about if I should do multiple goals. And my advice is to try to just do one game changer goal at a time. And that's because I think living in this modern day society is really challenging. And sometimes people take on too many goals at once and they get overwhelmed and they quit, like everything, like they quit because our perfectionism, we want to get an A+ every time. And I don't think goals really work that way. I think you can focus on all of the things that you need to be and do to live a healthy life, which I think is already really hard. You have to do laundry, you have to clean, you have to eat, you have to cook, you have to have friends, you have to sleep, you have to socialize, you have to be a good family member. There's just so many things. And you, again, yeah, like Casey just said, you can't do everything. So just be really kind to yourself when you're implementing goals, which is why I think stress exponentially increases the more we want to change our life and the quicker we want to. So if you can give yourself a longer timeline and lessen the expectations of trying to tackle all of the goals at once and just tackling the game changer, the one thing, and seeing everything else you do as extra credit on top of just living as a human, I think that is pretty awesome. So, and you'll see your life change, and you don't have to take my word for it. You can just try it and let me know how it goes. So the next thing is we are going to add specifics. So we're going to add due dates if possible. So for example, if you're going to take the MCAT, then I would look up when you have to take the MCAT and so on and so forth. So be specific and indicate how much, how many, or by when. So I'm not going to mute. I'm just going to stay for about 30 seconds and you can add some of the stuff. Any tasks, how much, how many, or by when. So for example, if you want to run a marathon and you want to try to run for 30 minutes 3 times a week, then it would be on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So you really want to get specific on when you're going to do these things and how much or how long. All right, awesome. So the next thing is to create a timeline, which is pretty much just numbering these steps in the order that you think they need to be completed. So 1, 2, 3, 4, so on and so forth. And if you think that you find a step where you're like, oh, it actually should be after 1, then all I do is put 1A or 1B, because again, you don't have to renumber everything. So just generally giving yourself a timeline for these things. So go ahead and take 30 seconds to do that. I'm going to keep it a little shorter. You can always work on this on your own later. I feel like I'm teaching like an art class. And it's like, I know you want to keep going, you want to make it perfect, but we're going to keep walking through the class through it. And you can always work on this on your own. So the next thing we're going to do is actually schedule it into our planner. So if you don't have a planner, that's okay. You can print out the full PDF, and I would suggest printing out the month PDF and then stapling it in a manila folder. And you can do that for the rest of your life and never give Passion Planner $1. And I would be very happy still, because you'd be reaching your goals and that would make me happy. The next slide, please. So for example, this person's game changer goal is to find an internship, and your goals need time to thrive. So you need to dedicate time to your goals, or else they're going to be just thoughts in your head that, like, goals without action are just dreams. I think that's a quote from someone. I'm so sorry if I butchered it, but that's the general vibe of that quote. So for example, their first step was to do internship research. So what I would do is put it into my to-do list. this person is a student, so their work is school. And I would put it there. And then on the left side of the to-do list item, I would write how long it takes to do that thing. So internship research, Googling it, going to the resource center, maybe it will take 60 minutes, about an hour. So then I will move it because I know Saturday I will have time. And at 4 p.m., I will block out an hour to do internship research. So that's literally how you time block in alignment with your goals. So we're really going from big picture goal to smaller task into a to-do list into your calendar. So then the next thing you would do is schedule all of the other things that you need to do. Usually I do that before, but I wanted to make it clear. So for example, if you know you work from 9 to 5 or you have class from 10 to 2, then you would block and time block those commitments already, and you would see visually where you have gaps of time. So like some days I was like, oh, I actually have a gap of time between 3 to 5. So I have 2 hours. What's my game changer goal? Oh, I could probably sneak some time to potentially do some research on their podcast. So essentially what that will do is create this time-sensitive to-do list out of your schedule. And what I also like to do is schedule bigger time, more time than I think I need, because I don't love feeling like I need to finish this on time so I could go to the next thing. If I know something's going to take about 45 minutes, I will time block an hour. If I think it's going to take an hour, sometimes I'll time block an hour and a half. So I call this breathing space. Jem has this quote. Jem is the person in the background working the magic. And she says, spirit needs space to play. And I really believe that too. Your spirit feels, at least mine, feels really constricted when I don't have space in my planner, in my time. And I'll literally block out time to nap. I'll block out time to watch the L Word with my girlfriend. I'll block out time to spend time with my family. What's so beautiful about having a visual representation of your time is that you can just know that you have time dedicated and budgeted to the things you need to do. So if it's build morning or evening routines, how do we do this? So I'll get to that question at the Q&A, but we'll finish this part really quick. The next thing is after you complete your month, Rocco is playing, but after you complete your monthly reflection, oh my gosh, Nikki. Rocco is just making like laps in the living room. But after you complete your monthly, your week, you can do your monthly reflection. This is a really pretty one. This was one that we had on our website, but yours doesn't have to be that pretty. I usually just do little mind maps, and sometimes I do all of it, and sometimes I'll do 2 or 3 questions. I hope Passion Planner, if you know Passion Planner and you've been in the Passion Fam, you know that this is like, we don't judge people for what they can and cannot do. We're all just trying to survive and do our best. So don't pressure yourself. If it's something that feels like a gift you give yourself, do it. If it's not, then skip it. But give it a shot. So that's pretty much the end of my passion roadmap exercise workshopping. And thank you so much for being here. I am so grateful you all came. Remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to start. That is the motto that I live by. I will stay on until 6 to answer questions. And thank you so much. Everyone is so kind. I love this community because everyone's so kind. Sometimes online, it's really easy to find mean people, but I think people in the Pash Fam generally are really, really kind. So yeah, I'll go into questions. So I saw a question about routines and how to build morning and evening routines. And my recommendation is to don't overcomplicate the routine. Because a lot of times I have an acronym, it's called DTM, and it's doing too much. Sometimes when you DTM or you do too much, you end up getting overwhelmed because something else in your life comes up and it's just hard to maintain. So for me, when I try to do a routine, I actually just try to pick one new habit. In the same way that I choose one game changer goal, it's one new habit that, oh wow, hi everyone. One new habit. So for example, one of my habits a couple years ago when I found myself in depressive episodes like consistently was walking outside for 10 minutes. So I would make sure that if there was one thing that I did that day, it would be to take a walk outside for 10 minutes. So that is the habit that I would do. And then once I felt really confident that I could do that consistently, then I would add another habit, if that makes sense. So a lot of time people have like 20-step routines and it gets really overwhelming and they don't feel like they're making progress. And if you feel like you're not making progress, just simplify and be kinder to yourself if you can. Give yourself grace and know that you're also just trying to survive. So that is what I would say. Let's see. Another question is, what is a good way to plan your week and month that doesn't take up a lot of time? Nicolette asked this question just to make it easier to stick with. What I would say is I would create a routine of, it would be a weekly routine of 5 minutes every Sunday to look at my agenda, input all of the things that I know I need to do, whether that's work, whether that's eating, whether that's appointments that I already have, and then brain dump all of my to-dos and schedule the top priority ones into my calendar. That would take 5 minutes. So if you do that once a week, ideally on Sunday evening, or even Friday, the last hour of work, so you can prep for the next week, I think that is a manageable amount of time. And if you feel, sometimes the hardest thing is the start. So if you feel like you want to keep going, then you can go back and add things that you completed the previous week, or you can add good things that happened, which is your gratitudes. You can also add pictures or memories or thoughts, or you could just journal in the blank space. That's what I find myself doing a lot. And your planner can just kind of evolve from that. And your planner practice can evolve from whatever you want to do. So it doesn't have to be rigid. A lot of times people have a certain planning style and they want to keep that planning style consistent. It doesn't have to be that way. You can just let it be what it needs to be that week. If it gets your cluttered thoughts onto paper and it makes your mind feel less cluttered, I think that is such a win. Yeah. So another question. Does the digital planner connect to Google Calendar or Outlook? No, it doesn't. That is a lot of programming. My team doesn't know that much programming. We did our best with building the digital planner, but so actually I wanted to, this brings up a different topic, which is I actually use my Google Calendar a lot in conjunction to my planner. And a lot of times people are like, oh, I need to be a purist. I only need to use this planner and nothing else. And I'm like, no, be poly planner, like do all the planners if you want, like use all the systems that make sense to you, because sometimes it works. Only you know your brain and only you know what works for your brain. So if you need to use a planner and a journal, do it. If you need to use your planner and Google Calendar because you have a lot of appointments online, because a lot of us are working remotely, then do it. There's definitely no judgment in mixing up whatever system. And you can try a system for a month and then decide you don't like it anymore. But personally, I like using my Google Calendar on top of my appointment calendar, because what I will do is actually use, if I have like a meeting with someone and it's a long meeting, then I'll use that space to kind of just jot down the main things. But I'll also use Google Calendar. So yeah. And sometimes if I just primarily use Google Calendar for my appointment calendar, then I will use the columns to journal about each day. So it'll just be a little journal entry of today I'm grateful for this, and this is really something that really was funny, and this is something that I learned, whatever I want to journal about in that column. There's so many ways to use your planner. At the end of the day, it's paper. So if you want to draw on it, if you want to jot ideas down in it, if you want to paint pictures, paste pictures in it, you can. So just use it however your mind makes you happy. All right, so let me see. Does anyone want to get on camera and ask a question? Because if you do, you get to cut the line. If not, that's okay. You can just raise your hand if you would like to ask a question. If not, I will find another question. Another question is.
I'll ask a question.
Oh, sure. Hello.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi, Teresa.
So when you designed this, it sounds like you based them a lot off of like school calendars that you maybe had before, but what were references or things you came across to help you kind of build it? It helps me be so productive. And I'm like, how did you get there?
How did I get there? Well, I was thinking about what are the things that I have on my desk. So I had an appointment calendar, I had Post-its for my to-do list, and I had a journal for my thoughts. So I was like, okay, how would if we had one layout? And I also had a gratitude journal. And I was like, how would if we had one layout that had all of it? Because I'm a bucket person. I also have ADHD. So for me, spatially, it made sense. And even now, how I have my office laid out, it's very spatial. So like I have this part of the wall for my personal stuff, this part of the wall for my work stuff. And then I'll just
I love that.
Yeah, it just works for my brain.
It's separate, but you can see it both at the same time.
Yeah, and again, you don't want your systems to overwhelm you. So for me, they kind of just serve as a reminder, because I'm kind of shiny object person. The reason why Passion Planner is really successful is because I have a lot of people on the team that are very structure oriented. I'm very like, I'm inspired and here I'm gonna go. Woo! So I think that knowing your strengths and knowing the ways you want to organize your thoughts, I think Passion Planner is one really great way that's really portable. But yeah, just testing things out and seeing if they work for you. Yeah. Awesome. Craig, did you want to ask a question?
I would love to. Thank you for the opportunity. Really appreciate it. This is my first Passion Planner, and I came across it because I was doing research on ADHD because I was recently diagnosed 2 months ago, and it was highly recommended for folks like me and you now with ADHD. And so I guess my question, or I think I'm figuring this out, but I can't keep my my electronic work calendar and my electronic, digital personal calendar in the same place just because of privacy, confidentiality, information, and things like that. But what's happening for me now is I'm finding that the Passion Planner is becoming that one place where I can see everything, right? So I'm putting my work things in there. I'm putting my personal things in there. It's my one view of the week where I feel sane, Just any other tips around managing like multiple calendars? And then I know you just touched on the kind of, digital and calendaring versus paper, but anything like work/personal? Any other tips at all?
I think there's some people that use different planners for different things. So some people literally use a planner just for their personal life. Like maybe they have a lot of kids, or maybe they have a lot of other commitments in their personal life, or they're like really involved in church. So they have a planner that's just dedicated to a specific thing. So it becomes their hub for that thing. And then other people like myself, I like having everything because it's really hard for me to have both. So I think doing that. And also another system I like to use that I don't really talk about a lot is I like to email myself ideas, and then I clear my inbox by putting into my planner. So a lot of times I'll be on the go. I won't have my planner with me. It's wild. Some people bring their Passion Planner I ran into people at Disneyland and they have their Passion Planner and they see me and they're like, oh my God. And they're just like, and I'm like, okay, I'll sign your planner. And I'm like, I'm so awkward. But yeah, so if you want to like be on the go and then just have this be the place where you park everything, that for me has been something. I was writing It's so funny. I was riding on my Peloton and the Peloton instructor said something like, okay, during this time, this 30 minutes, if an idea comes to you, you can just say, not right now. And I was like, I have ADHD, like ideas are coming to me all the time. But I started to realize like, okay, maybe I tell myself, maybe not right now. All right, like brain, you get all the time, except for this time that I'm working out, because my brain is the boss of me and my life, I think, at this point in my life. Like, let my body have this time. And I think having a planner helps me take the thought and say, okay, not right now, but let me put it in a safe place. Not right now, but let me store it in a safe place. And that to me just decreases the anxiety of, I know I had this thought. I knew I need to do something. I forgot. I find myself constantly going, what do I have to do? I know it's important. I know it's important. Like sometimes when I'm walking to the somewhere, I'll be like, nail cutters, nail cutters, nail cutters, nail cutters, nail cutters, while I'm walking to the place, because I need to tell myself constantly, or else it'll be on to the next thing. So I know
100%.
the struggle.
100%. If I could just add, the erasable pens have changed my life,
Oh, I'm so glad.
because so many times things change, right? And I
Yeah.
much prefer seeing it in pen because it pops off the page. I don't like using pencil. It's dull, right? What I didn't do when I ordered the planner, I ordered the blue pens. Now I'm seeing all these comments in the chat about different colors. So I probably should order the black pens too. And if you make another color like red or something, I'll probably get those too.
We haven't found a red color that we like as much as the two that we have, but when we do, you'll see it. But I love erasable pens. I love the flow of a pen. I was working on these pens for 2 years. 2 years of don't like that. It could be better. Like, so thanks for buying the pens. I think they're a game changer for me. Yeah. Lindsay, I think you're next.
Hi.
Hi.
So first of all, I think this is my 7th passion planner this
Wow.
year, or like in ever. So this is
Amazing.
kind of crazy to be chatting with you. I did have a question. Do you have any recommendations on just how to check in on goals? I actually just learned that on the to-do list, you use that square to the left for time blocking. I always used to use that kind of like as a checkbox. So I think time blocking is going to be much easier using the time slot. But I guess, do you just have any recommendations on how to check in, like with, where you are on progress, and if you need to reallocate time or just shift in focus or priority?
Yeah. I mean, it's so interesting because there's that quote that says, when you make plans, God laughs. And it's so funny because my name's Angel. So I feel like I'm in this joke somewhere. But for me, I really, I do it every week. So I think, okay, so the first thing I do when I get to my weekly is I put in everything that's non-negotiable. So that may mean my meeting with my COO, that might mean having lunch, that might be taking a nap, like literally having a date with my girlfriend. Like these are things that are like non-negotiable for me. And then I will say, okay, based on that, and based on how difficult all the other things in my calendar are, what are days where I can plug in something from my game changer? Because it can't be sometimes it's not every day. Sometimes you have a day where it's like dentist appointment and then this and then this and then this. And that's probably not the most ideal day to force yourself to add another thing. So don't press yourself to show up every single day. I try to think about goals as a long timeline, not like 1 month or 3 months. I think about goals sometimes on a year timeline. And I say, how many times can I show up in this year or in these 3 years? Because sometimes that's just how long some goals take. So for me, it's really about checking in with myself, sometimes on a daily basis, but most of the time it's on a weekly basis when I set up my agenda.
Okay, perfect. That helps a lot. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Also, when I use because some people do use that as a cross out, where to cross it off on the to-do list. What I like crossing it off. I'm a cross off all the way through. I don't know if you all know that feeling. I mean, if you're here, you know that feeling when you cross something all the way through. It's so nice.
I'm going to do that. Different color.
Yeah, it's so
something different.
satisfying. So
Thank you so much. I appreciate
you're
it.
welcome. Thank you so much. All right. Anita, we have enough for about 2 more, and then
Hi there. Actually,
Hi.
I'm a big fan. I think my question got answered. It was regarding the erasable, and I know there's another brand, not to take away from your organization, but speaking of colors, they also offer erasable highlighters in different colors as well. So that's the only thing I was wondering if it works on this or if it doesn't work on this, and someone did answer that for me. So thank you.
Yeah, no problem. again, use whatever tools you need to succeed. Like, you do you. And then now we have Martin with the same last name as me. Hello, Martin. I don't think we're related, but nice to see you.
And we probably are somewhere down the line in our
Maybe, yeah.
family tree. So it's nice to be able to talk to you.
Hello.
I'm a veteran and I'm heading to VA here within the week to get diagnosed for ADHD. And I've been listening to a lot of the suggestions and reading some of the suggestions for folks that have ADHD and things like that. One of the biggest issues that I am having is I tend to write things down on my planner. This is my third planner, and this is the first time that I'm doing the Passion Planner. I love the planner and I love the fact that you can do all of these great things with it, but I get stuck in the roadmap and then I never use the planner. So,
Yeah,
this is my
start
third
is
planner.
hard, right?
Yes, it is. So being that this is my first planner, one of the things that I'm struggling is I write things down, but then I forget to go back and look. So is there any suggestions that you have for somebody like me that, yeah, we'll put things down on the calendar, we'll put things down on the book, we'll take notes and all of that
Yeah,
stuff, and then all of a sudden we forget to go back and look.
Yeah. What I would recommend is, so actually at the end of each monthly reflection, there is a section on the bottom that says, it's like a little checklist right here. It says end of month checklist. It says highlight your accomplishments. Go back to your passion roadmap and highlight any goals you have reached or steps that you've completed. So, you have a checkpoint here in the monthly, but I also honestly wouldn't stress too much, because there have been so many people that have told me, I haven't looked at my passion roadmap all year and I've done so many things on it. Like, just writing it down initially is so powerful, because your brain and your conscious mind and your subconscious mind is looking for that goal and opportunities to that goal. So for example, I don't know if anyone has experienced this, but if they're looking for, if their family just got a Prius, let's say, then you go on the street, you'll see every single Prius on the street. You'll just see it. And you're like, I'm not trying, and everyone has a Prius. I mean, in LA, yeah, everyone has a Prius. So if you just put it into your mind and put it into your conscious that that's something that you want, then your mind will start finding solutions for it. So I wouldn't be too hard on yourself. Again, if you can check in with yourself, even on a 6-month basis, that's still pretty good.
Awesome. Thank you very much for this time.
You're
And I
welcome.
wish you the best.
Yeah. Rachel, I'm gonna take your last question. I'm so sorry.
It's a really quick question. I just
Cool.
always wondered, when you were designing the Passion Planner, what was the reason, or was there a reason that you picked a book bound planner as opposed to like a spiral planner? I was just curious what the thought process was behind that.
Hi, kittens.
Yeah. Personally, I'll try to do these rapid fire questions because I want to answer people's questions. So I personally love how a bound planner feels. It reminds me of like a nice wallet, if that makes sense. And whenever I use spiral planners, they always get messed up in my backpack. Like, as careful as I am, I'm just like, they always get squished and I'm just like, ah. So for me, that's the reason. It was just a personal preference. And also they ship easier. So because we're shipping these all around the country, sometimes all around the world, things get damaged and people get sad, especially because they're waiting for their planner. So yeah. All right, Jacqueline. Thank you, Rachel. And then Janine,
my
I'll get to you
gosh.
and then I'll be last one.
Thank you so much for taking my question. And I think this is my 6th year and I love Passion Planner. So I have two questions. The first one is really quick, which is just, would you ever consider adding a second bookmark to like a second ribbon to the softbound like Elite? Because I've been getting the hardcovers and I love the second ribbon and like I would love to have it in the other one. Anyways, my real question is how you were sort of talking about this before, but how do you have any tips for like not overextending yourself or not like committing to too much? Because like I feel like I have so many passions and so many things that I love to do and want to accomplish, but obviously it feels like, and maybe is true, that like you just can't do everything. So I don't know, any thoughts on that?
the way that I see it is like you're a chef in a kitchen, right? A chef in a kitchen doesn't cook that many things at once because it gets really confusing and really complicated because everything is time sensitive. So just focus on one recipe at a time. You'll get to the other recipes. Eventually, my friends are coming up because we're having dinner, but you'll get to the other recipes and you'll gain experience from that one recipe to bring it to the next one. So the way that I see it is don't overwhelm yourself by doing too many things and learn how to say no. I think one of the best quote unquote productivity hacks is learning how to say, no, thank you. Because a lot of times when people are overextending themselves, it's usually because they don't have strong practices in having boundaries. And one of my friends, Nedra Tawwab, wrote a great book about find boundaries, find peace. And it's a great book.
I love that. I read that.
Yeah, being able to say no and saying no, thank you. And sometimes you have to say no, thank you to yourself and have boundaries with yourself. So I think that's what I would say. All right, last question.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Janine.
All right. Okay. First thing, I saw all the before I get to I just really wanted to just say thank you to providing the passion planners. This is my 4th year and I really love the passion planner. It's really helped me hone in on my goals and possibly like to publish a novel like in the near future. But that was a thank you, and also I just happened to see all the comments asking for a second bookmark. My passion planner last year actually did come with a second bookmark. Where did I put it?
Yeah, some of the hardcovers.
Like accidentally came with a, like I don't think it was
accidentally.
intentional, but there was like 2 bookmarks in my
the hardcovers did. Yeah.
It-
So I also, sorry, I'm gonna just really quickly go on the bookmark thing. Maybe we should make a YouTube video on how to add another bookmark because it's super easy. You just need a little bit of super glue or hot glue gun, and you can add it yourself. Sometimes when I try to design things, I try to design things for the general public. So most people didn't need 2 bookmarks. So I try to keep things as simple as possible. So that's really why I have to sometimes be disciplined. I don't know if everyone knows, but we have like 250 unique products. Like every time we design a cover, then it goes on Monday and Sunday, and then it has 3 sizes. So there's 6 different unique products for one cover. So it's a lot of different things to juggle, but yeah. So your question?
All right, yeah, I just wanted to show off my
Yeah.
my-
You should look at
accidentally
my
came-
double bookmarks.
like no, it just came like that. That's how it
Yeah,
came in
Yeah.
with two bookmarks.
Mhm.
It came with 2 bookmarks. That's just how it came out. I just wanted to bring that up since it showed up. One thing I did want to ask was that one thing I get stumped on is like keeping set on goals.
Yeah.
Like like daily and weekly goals sometimes, because sometimes like what happens like in some weeks where things are just so overwhelming that
Oh yeah.
you can just like that the week's basically just a loss and you're just gonna just dedicate yourself to self-care for like a week or something like
Yeah.
that, because like it's just like really bad out there.
Yeah, I think that is completely normal, and I think that's completely acceptable. And I think it's kind of like society does us a disservice by acting like every single week of our lives needs to be productive. I think rest is productive in its own way. Like I think about like even elite athletes, they have an off season for a reason. They have a time where they need to rest for a reason. And I think that a lot of times we expect ourselves to be machines when we're not. I had just posted a post about last year. I had 4 concussions and 2 of them were major. And I just had weeks where I couldn't do anything. Like I couldn't engage my brain. I couldn't look at screens. I couldn't exercise because I needed to keep my heart rate down. And I think for me, it just needed to be taking a break and seeing that as not a loss, but as an act of self-love and self-care. So to me, it's something that makes sense. Other people have different approaches, but what's beautiful about living is you get to choose what approach you want to take and what approach works for you. So definitely think that is normal. And I hope you keep taking weeks where you take care of yourself and incorporate that into other weeks where it's not just self-care, but a little like one thing that I like to do is actually color code sometimes my my layouts, and I have red for exercise, and then I have green for work, blue for socializing, yellow for eating, purple for self-care, rest, and then orange for learning or coaching. So I have an executive coach, or my therapist. I use that, I put that as orange, and I will go back and color code everything in my planner. And then I'll ask myself, what color is missing? And then I'll schedule something of that color. So
Right.
that's some way that I find ways to balance. But yeah, thank you so much for everyone for being here. I really appreciate so many people for staying. And I hope everyone has a great year, and hopefully we'll see you all soon, maybe in person. So thanks, everyone. Oh, Rocco still wants to say bye. Bye.